Daniel and the Adjuster here to talk to you about what goes on in a day of my life as an insurance adjuster, as an independent, self-employed insurance adjuster. Okay, so we just finished up a claim this morning, which was for a fire. And it was quite interesting because it was a fire that occurred at the back of property. I don't know if you can see it from here or not. Maybe, see if I can show it to you. But there's some townhomes down here, all the way down the line. And at the back of the property, all the grass is burnt. So all the grass is burnt back there because they had a fire that occurred way at the other end of the property. So way down at the other end. And how every person in these units did not get wind of the fire and put it out before it kept spreading from one unit to another. I can't quite fathom that, because that's hundreds of feet of grass that was burning, and it burned up all in between the people's houses too. So all the space that's between the townhomes, that was all on fire in between people's garages. Burnt their siding on the side of the house, and no one put it out before it got about 20 units burnt. I don't know, it just seemed a little bit of an odd scenario. It said it happened, let's see, a couple days ago. It didn't give me a time though. Let's see if it did. Date of loss. Yeah, 10:30 in the morning maybe. How do people not see a fire at 10:30 in the morning burning down the whole back of your property? Not to mention here, every one of these places has got a patio door. Now, granted, there are a couple story townhomes. I think the first floor is like a bonus room, and the rest is, everything is upstairs. So I have a feeling that's probably why, as most people are not downstairs, didn't see the thing burning. The only person that probably saw it burning was somebody who was leaving in the morning, and then called the fire department. But it looks like the fire department didn't have much to put out because it already burned all the grass and went out itself. Otherwise, it would have caught a lot more things on fire. There was one little fence post on my insurance property that looked like it was starting to really catch on fire, so they may have put that out. It was really charred and really burnt. So, well, I hope you guys are doing great. Hey, Deviate, how you doing? Hey, what's your first name, Deviate? So instead of calling you Deviate, I call you by your first name. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me, because I see you here on my lives all the time. So I'd love to get to know people's names. So tell me your first name if you want, and where you're. I think I remember where you're from, but I can't remember. Well, I hope you guys are doing good today. Just getting near the end of the week, Thursday. I did not have any claims yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Josh, very good. Okay. Oh, it's your online name everywhere. Okay, cool. All right, we'll Deviate. Josh, thank ya. Well, here's the thing. When I walk up to you one day and I see you at a conference, or I see you somewhere in person, I want to be able to say, Josh, how you doing? Not, hey, Deviate. But hey, I get it. Online is online, right? Everybody wants to be anonymous. Good. All right, you respond to both. That's great. Yeah, so anyways, Thursday morning. So typically, so if you didn't see yesterday, I created a video just basically trying to encourage you guys, or have the understanding that hurricane season, or I call it storm season, is, hurricane season's not yet, but storm season has begun. Okay, so when we get to be mid-March, this is when your storms are going to start lighting up. And this is for an adjuster, basically the beginning of the dry season over. So not that it's all of a sudden going to drop, buckets of work on you, but it's the fact that it's officially the end of the slow time. That's how I see it. In my work, in my location, it seems to be right around mid-March. Unless we get an early storm, it might be beginning of the March. But yeah, it's a very exciting time when I see March and we start seeing the storms come across. Like, if you look at the weather, guys, massive 10-state storm that is coming across the United States right now. So Midwest is being hit Friday with some massive, very dangerous, very severe storms, tornadoes, probably hail, but some severe straight line winds, thunderstorms, and potential tornado risk. Now, that same storm is forecast to come across the Carolinas by Saturday, Sunday. And they've already given us tons of warnings and said, yes, severe this, severe that, power loss potential, hail potential, severe thunderstorms, trees down, blah, blah, blah. So that just kind of gives me the indication that we are, when I see a big event like that, then that means things are heating up in the south and clashing with the cold weather of the north, because, the north is still pretty cool and they haven't hit their, spring weather yet. They're still dealing with some snow. Colorado's still going to get a snowstorm in April. So yeah, there's a line that pretty much March is still cool, but you got to remember the South, they're hitting 80s, 75s and 80s already. So that's the hot air, cold air clash that creates these thunderstorms. I've been getting my truck ready for the storm, doing rods and tires today. Awesome. You're right. Very good, Deviate. You're right, because this is the time to be prepared, guys. It's not time. I've already done new tires. I already did. I actually replaced the shocks on my front end. They were really messing me up on when I was in Florida, when I was hitting potholes and it felt like the bottom was dropping out on my vehicle. So I went ahead and swapped out the shocks on the front end, and now it's driving like a limo again, nice and smooth. So yeah, you got to get your oil changes, get your inspection stickers. My licenses all have to be renewed this year, so I'm doing that. I don't have to do continue education because I did it last year. So one of my, I got to renew my license, one of my licenses every year, and so I'm fortunate enough, I just got to pay all the licenses this time and not do my continue education. Or, actually, now that I think about it, I think I did my continue education early is what I did. I did it last year when I really didn't need to do it until this year when it was renewing. Yeah, so my license was renewing, it's every 2 years, and my North Carolina license was renewing this year, but I did all my continue education requirements last year because I thought that was the year that my license was renewing, and it wasn't. So yeah, so it was a nice little treat when I get all the emails that tell me all my licenses need renewing, and I'm thinking, oh, I hate continue education. And then this time I didn't have to do it, so all I had to do is pay for my licenses. So yeah, get all those things up to date. Make sure you take care of Florida, where you designate yourself, self-designate yourself in that's not self-designate. What is that word? I don't know. There's a thing you got to do in Florida, something like where you self-designate yourself as your own entity or own firm. You got to do that every year, or else they'll hit you with a fine because you didn't renew properly. Yeah, so those are little things that you got to do with your licenses. Appointment, there you go. Thank you for the word. I knew it was something. But yeah, so what was really funny is years ago, I hadn't worked in a storm in Florida for a long time. It wasn't since, what was it, Irma or something like that was the last time that I was in Florida. So I did my appointment back then in order to work there. But then that was a long time ago. That was like 17 or 18, I can't even remember. Long time ago. And I didn't realize that I was supposed to do my appointment every year for Florida. And so I let it like kind of slip by or whatever. And so then when it came around I got this notice in the mail and said that you haven't, your license is at risk for being dropped because you haven't appointed yourself. You haven't appointed either a firm or yourself in Florida. I was like, what are you talking about? I've been renewing my license. And apparently I hadn't. But they didn't cancel my license. They just saw that I hadn't paid the appointment, which they were still showing my license active, but just that I hadn't appointed anybody, which was basically their way of paying for the license. Anyway, so they socked me with a fine for like 5 years of not appointing, and then I got my appointment current again. But anyway, so it was kind of funny and I wanted to do that because I wanted to make sure my license was still current when I went down to do Hurricane Milton, and then I was finding out there was glitches there with the license. I was like, what's going on? I have a license. What's the deal? So you live and learn. They're a little secret thing. They tell you, we're not going to remind you that you got to do this. So they're not going to tell you that your appointment's out of date and that you're not valid actually to handle claims in Florida. So keep that in mind. It's kind of weird little law. Anyway, so this morning handled my fire claim this morning. My next appointment is not till 10, and I'm almost there. Whew. Sorry guys, I'm almost there. I could not get this thing booked any tighter because this is a water claim. The insured is out of the area. It's a rental property, flooded, toilet or water line, who knows, we'll find out when I get there. But the remediation company is there and they couldn't meet until 10. So I've got a delay where I would like to have seen it at 9:30. Now I got to sit around for half an hour and wait for them to show up. Now hopefully they'll show up early and then I can get this thing inspected. But yeah, it's just 2 today. Like I said, every day is a surprise in this time of year, is because it's very slow. So like a surprise meaning, am I going to get a claim today or tomorrow? I don't know. I mean, I'm not booked out at all. So literally I got 2 claims in yesterday and booked them both today. And they just came in at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's kind of sad. I mean, I wish there was more work in my area, but I think there's a lot of people who want to live here. This is a very desirable area for adjusters because North Carolina is just a really nice place. I don't know if anybody has been there or you live here. And I think a lot of people want to come here. And so it's spread out kind of thin as far as claims go. People are really wanting to be here. So I think there's a lot more people here than probably necessary. Will Ladder Assist take pictures for you on a roof? They will, but here's, you want to be careful about this, Deviate, is think of it. I mean, I have had actually a roofing assist company, like Hancock. That's the one that I will hire. And the reason why is because they are licensed adjusters. They are adjusters that can go up and take those photos and put their name on a report, and you get a report with them doing a full inspection of that roof. So if it's truly something you can't get on, you don't feel comfortable doing, then I would hire Hancock because they are licensed adjusters. Now, why I say that is because if you hire somebody like who's just a ladder assist, they're not adjusters, they just come out and help you with the ladder, and then they get up and take photos. You are writing the report. You're not going to get a report from them of a complete roof inspection, because they're not allowed to do that because they're not an adjuster. So you're going to be writing your report with your name on it saying you observed this damage. And you won't be able to put the ladder assist as the evidence or the people that have taken the photos, because they're not adjusters, and technically no one can do that inspection but you or a licensed adjuster. So there's a very fine line that you can get into trouble with if that file would ever go to a court and you're standing in front of the court and they're disputing the damages, and you've got to sit there up on court and basically say, nope, I didn't take the photos and I didn't get on the roof. And that's going to be very detrimental to your job in the long run, possibly having an insurance infraction upon you and your license if the Department of Insurance gets involved with this claim. Because then that other team can basically say, okay, insurance company, why are you hiring somebody who's actually not a licensed adjuster to inspect these houses, which would have been the ladder assist company? So they try and blame it on the ladder assist company, but it's going to come back to the insurance company as an incompetency of them hiring non-licensed adjusters to do this inspection. And that's a huge problem. That's going to affect your job. And so it's not that it would happen every time, it's that it could happen. And if it did, you're in a heap of trouble. So ladder assist, to me, I like to use people that I know are going to write me a report. They're going to send me an email report. They're going to do measurements. They're going to put their name on it. They're going to say they took the photos. And then when I import that report, I can now write it in my report and say, licensed adjuster Hancock Ladder Assist took the photos for me as the roof was unsafe to climb. And now I've relieved myself of the legal ramifications of not doing that inspection myself, because now a licensed adjuster has actually done that inspection for me. So that's where a ladder assist is going to be perfect to use, but just make sure you choose a good one to do it with. Hey Jay, how's it going? Started as a field property adjuster with Allstate Monday. Very good. Okay, you will learn a lot. Very good, and I'm happy for you. I think any position that you get in while building your resume is great, and good for you. It's like I said, we all have to start somewhere, and you know, sometimes it's not with the best insurance companies, and you know, depending on your area, Allstate may be fine. I mean, they're still going to get paid, so you know, do the inspections and get paid. So, regardless. So, when I first started, I did a lot of inspections for insurance companies that I don't work for now, and that's just because I was desperate. I needed work. I was new in the business, and I took everything. Now, the reason why I don't work for them now is, number one, they didn't pay very much. Number two, they were for very, very small insurance companies that were trying their best to deny everything. Their policies really stunk. They really didn't take care of the insureds. And there were all sorts of stipulations on their policy coverage. And so almost every claim I went to on some of these smaller insurance companies were denials. And it didn't sit right with me, because I was sitting there, and my knowledge of insurance, because I knew policy when I first started in the field, is that I was like, that doesn't seem right. Like, they were denying claims that to me was like, well, clear cut that there's partial coverage here, and they were denying the whole thing. So yeah, some of your smaller companies or no names that you've never heard of, they're not very big, their policies are kind of restrictive, but you got to start doing work for someone somewhere, and that may be the first ones that hire you, and maybe your only work that you get when you first start, and so I say go for it. Knock it out. You can always change it out later. Don't want to burn your bridges, because you never know if those small insurance companies will grow in 10 years to something much bigger. We just don't know. And they could change their policies. They could update their fee schedules, be paying better. So yeah, never burn your bridges on any work that you do. You may not like it, but keep it to yourself. I know I voice a lot of my dislike for certain carriers here, but I don't work for them, and I don't need to work for them, so I don't care. That's just my personal opinion, and you take it whatever you want. That's up to you. But there are really good insurance companies out there, and I love working for those, and I don't care to work for the ones I don't like. But that's just me. I'm an honest guy and a guy that wants people to be treated fairly, even in the insurance world. It's like I have a hard time getting myself wrapped around this mentality of just get as much money as you can from somebody and don't have any care for them later, like premiums or denying coverages or all these different things. I don't understand that, because it's going to burn you in the long run. It's going to hurt your business long term. You may not feel it now, but you don't ever know when people are leaving your insurance company, 10 a week or 15 a week or 100 a week or whatever from all over the country. You don't know that volume, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, why are we so dry on work right now? We don't seem to have very many new clients signing up. And that's because your policies stink and words are getting around. And then it takes forever to rebuild that reputation again to get that work back. So, and that works for any business. I think of these ice cream shops that sit there and charge, $8 for an ice cream cone and wonder why there's nobody ever in the store. Because it's like, I can go to the grocery store and I can get your ice cream for $6. Why would I pay $8 or $9 for an ice cream cone? $10 at the stupid store to get half as much as I get at the grocery store for $6. So I don't go to the stores anymore to buy ice cream, because that's a total ripoff. And I'm sure you guys know who I'm talking about. So yeah, so the point is, do a good job. You'll find yourself finding more and more work. You'll find people calling you consistently. Like some of my firms that I worked for at the very beginning are still calling me all the time, asking me to do work. But unfortunately, their policies didn't change and their fee schedule didn't change. And so I had asked them, I had somebody call me the other week and ask me to do a claim. And I said, did you guys fee schedule change from the last time that you sent it to me like 3 years ago? And they go, no, the fee schedule hasn't changed. And I said, well, it's a little too low for me. I'm not interested in that work. And they're going, and I said, let me know if your fee schedule changes, and we may talk about doing some work for you. And it's hurting them because they have obviously had a need for an adjuster in my area, but their fee schedule absolutely stinks. And I have principles, and I just feel like an adjuster is worth his time and worth the money, and we're performing a service. And if everybody else in the industry is charging an average of this, then you should be right around that price point. You shouldn't be 30 to 40% less than the average. And that's what this one person or one firm is. So I don't work for them. And they always ask me, why are you not working for us? Like, because your fee schedule stinks. I hate to say it. And I know it's your carrier. I said, the carrier, you and your carrier have made an arrangement for the price, and you're trying to make money. You're still taking 40% of what I make, which I get. That's the standard. But you have to negotiate with that carrier to get more money, because by the time you take your 40% out, the adjuster's not making much at all. And it's not worth it. It is not worth it. So now, and here's the thing, they don't give me very much work either. So it's a different scenario. Like if they could give me 20 claims a week at that price,